For years I was drifting from job to job, not progressing or doing anything that I particularly liked, but I had to do it to pay the bills. Does that sound familiar? Then one day, pretty much by accident, I stumbled into starting this YouTube channel, and that actually turned into being my side hustle. Now it has gone on to completely change my life 1.5 years later. So if you're thinking of starting a side hustle but you're just not sure, or eventually you want to transition out of your full-time job and do your own thing, in this video I'll be explaining exactly why you should have a side hustle, you should have it now, and why it's the best thing that you'll ever do. So first things first, what is a side hustle? So a side hustle is something you do alongside your full-time job that makes you extra money. Technically, you could do any job and this would be a side hustle, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to specifically focus on a side hustle that stretches you, that grows your knowledge, something that you're interested in, that you're potentially passionate about, and then eventually you can maybe take this full-time and transition out of your full-time job. So now let's talk about the 3 main reasons why I firmly believe that you should have a side hustle. Number 1 is progress. I wanted to start with progress and not just making extra money, which I will come to later, but for me progress is one of the most important things that you should be chasing in life. It's not just making extra money, which is useful and it's handy and maybe there's slightly less stress if you have more money, I get it, but I've had money and I haven't been happy. So this reminds me of a quote by Tony Robbins, and he says the secret to happiness is progress. I did also talk about this in a lot more depth in my video where I was talking about the reasons why we feel stuck in life. If you do want to check that out, check it out right here. So looking back at my own life, to me this absolutely makes sense, because the times when I've been the most stuck in life have actually been times when I've had on paper a good job. I've been earning lots of money. I've even been living in incredible places, you know, Sydney and China as well. But I still felt miserable. And now I can realize that it's because I wasn't progressing. Or maybe I was progressing down the wrong path. I wasn't doing something that I actually wanted to do. However, when I started my side hustle, so this YouTube channel, it proved to me that actually that there was light at the end of the tunnel. There was something that I enjoyed doing. And I started to make progress. I started to learn. I started to do something I enjoyed every day, if not most days. And even though I had a full-time job, it was something that I'd look forward to doing. It's something that I'd always be thinking about. And for me, that started the wheels moving. Often if we aren't happy doing what we're doing, it's a vicious cycle. We don't take any action, every day is the same, and we just become more and more entrenched. However, starting a side hustle, even if it's not the thing you end up doing for the rest of your life, even if it's just something you do for a few months and then that moves you on to the next thing, that's fantastic, because it's movement forward. You start to change your current situation and you start to see that there are different options for you. And the second reason for starting a side hustle is so you can test what you want to do. Very often when we have something new and unknown that we want to do or try out, there's a lot of fear and doubt that stops us. But starting a side hustle is a fantastic opportunity to try out that thing, to see, firstly, how do you feel about it? Is it actually something that you can see yourself doing long term? Do you want to keep learning and growing and sort of becoming an expert in that field? Even if it's not, that's great. It's not a failure at all, because you figured out that actually it's not something that you want to pursue. Maybe you thought it was, but now you can focus your efforts elsewhere. And particularly if you still have a full-time job, this is fantastic because there's less pressure, okay? Unlike me, who basically quit my job and just sort of went all in this. In hindsight, it might have been better if I'd sort of stayed in a job and worked on this more on the side. But again, I have talked about this in depth in my video that you can check out right here. Another interesting point though as well is, yes, it gives you confidence that the idea will actually work, that you can make money from it, but it gives you confidence in yourself. This for me was one of the biggest things, because for me, I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't know if I could make this work. I didn't know how I would make this work. It's something that I struggled with. But if you start doing this on the side, so for example, very quickly, when I first started, I was very scared about editing videos. I was convinced I couldn't do it. I avoided it for months on end, and in the end, I had to do it. Now I don't even think about it. It's something that's like second nature. I don't even worry about editing videos. I can now do it quite quickly. This is something that I was able to test, that I was able to try. And before we move on, just a quick side note as well. You do not need the perfect plan and strategy. Let me say that again. You do not need the perfect plan and strategy. So this tripped me up so many times, but I also see it now with people who I'm coaching. They feel they've got to have the perfect plan and everything all lined up, or their ducks in a row before they can take action. In my experience, yes, you need maybe some sort of idea, obviously, but that's all you need. Get started, get moving, and then it'll become clearer as you go along. So this is another great point about having a side hustle. You don't need much to get started. If there's something you're interested in, just start doing it. Do a course on it, start learning about it, start doing it, and then it'll become clearer as you go along. And point number 3 is that having a side hustle is an extra income source. I used to believe that having a job was the only way to make money and that it was the stable and safe option. Doing my own thing, trying to have my own business, that was risky and that should be avoided at all costs. This is a myth that a lot of us grow up with in our society. Let's just say I do not believe that anymore. So what actually happened to me was that I had a stable job. I had the monthly paycheck coming in, and then the pandemic hit, and guess what? I was made redundant. Whereas I knew people who were freelancers or they had their own businesses, particularly online businesses. Guess what happened to them? They still had a job, they still had their business, they still had money coming in. And a lot of them, business increased, business was booming. So this showed to me that the model is wrong. Okay, things have actually changed. So the thing about having a side hustle is that it actually gives you more financial security. It gives you an extra source or sources of income. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket. Even if it's not enough to support you completely at the moment, even if it's a couple of £100 coming in, £500, £1,000, whatever it might be, it's something, it pays for something. So even if your job suddenly disappears, the good old stable job isn't stable anymore, you still have other sources of income. So I did also make a video on the key differences between the employee mindset that I was very much in versus the entrepreneur mindset that I'm now trying to get into. I made a video, you can check it out right here. If you haven't already, start a side hustle. So pick something that you're interested in, that you've been thinking about, that you'd like to learn more about, and just get started. And the thing is, guys, these days the options are literally unlimited. You can do absolutely anything. I know someone online who years ago made literally millions showing people how to take the perfect selfie. Can you believe it? I have a friend who employed someone to write the perfect best man speech for him. There are videos out there teaching you how to do origami, for example. The options are absolutely unlimited. If you're interested in coding, learn how to code. If you're interested in making WordPress websites, that's a massive demand. If you know how to make good WordPress websites, you'll always be in work. If you are good at singing, teach people how to sing. If you're good at dancing, teach people how to dance. Doesn't matter what it is. I firmly believe that the time we live in now is the best time in human history for learning, growing, opportunities, and making money. Absolutely, undoubtedly. So for example, my go-to is YouTube. Anything pretty much you want to learn, you'll find it on YouTube. How to XYZ, there'll be thousands of videos, or even Skillshare. If you're not familiar with Skillshare, check it out. I believe you can get 1 month free, which is amazing. I'm not sponsored by them, which I was, maybe will be in the future, but you can learn absolutely anything on Skillshare. I've taken courses on how to be more stoic, on meditation, on video editing as well, how to have better YouTube videos. So check out Skillshare, it's really, really good. Okay guys, do hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments or questions for me, do leave them below. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed already, click subscribe, click the bell notification so you'll be notified every time I release a new video. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.